welcome to Literary Hype. I am Stephanie, your Literary Hype Woman, and today's author conversation is one I have been trying to get for a while. I have asked for Chloe Gong in like 6 different cities at different events, and her schedule is always so busy or it doesn't work out, but this time we made it work. Chloe Gong was at New York Comic Con talking about her book, Coldwire. This is her cyberpunk novel. This is the first in a series. So if you're expecting things to be nice, you shouldn't be. But this is a really fun and unique book, so I'm gonna let Chloe tell you all about it. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Chloe Gong from New York Comic Con. Well, welcome to Literary Hype. It's so exciting to finally have you on.
I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm pumped.
Have had you on my vision board for the show for like 3
Your
years.
Vision board?
I do. I put
so
authors'
honored.
faces on my wall like a stalker.
Oh my
it's
God.
weird.
And then you throw dots at it?
No, I put star stickers on them when they get on the show. So you're going to get a sticker when I get home.
Okay, I'm honored.
Do you have a preference on color of sticker?
Pink.
Pink? I think I have red. Is that close enough?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a red star on Chloe's face. Like a star.
Like smacking my forehead, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. I can't wait.
Awesome. So you are here at New York Comic Con talking about your upcoming book, which by the time this comes out, it'll be release week because that's how I roll. I'm behind, okay?
No, you're on time. Perfectly on time.
There we go. But before we dive into the book itself, I want to talk about your dedication because that's super cute. Yes.
Okay.
So it's dedicated to Owen, and you talked about how on your first date you told him the idea for this book.
I did.
So tell me a little bit about how that all went out.
Yes. So my first date with Owen was 3 years ago now. So that's how long Coldwire has been in the pipeline for. I was actually trying to hide my identity from him. I met him on a dating app where I had a fake name, actually, because I didn't want to tell him I was an author. I was going to wait for it. But then we just, clicked on all arenas of talking about like science fiction and like fun cyberpunk elements, and I was like, I actually have a book idea along this vein, and I was telling him all about it, and that's just been an ongoing conversation until I wrote the book, and then when I revised the book, and it just he had a big role in all the conception of it.
Did anything change because of his conversation?
Oh, for sure. Yes. I mean, because he studied machine learning in school, so he's actually an expert in this field that I'm writing in. I am not an expert. I went to school for English. I was an English major and I was an international relations major. So anytime the book is talking about how they like hack into the system or like artifacts of like the deep faking, I was just making things up in the first rounds, and I would talk to him about it, and he would be like, I'm so sorry, I don't know if that's how it works. Then he would walk me through ways it could work and walk me through what we could explore instead, and I really think it improved the book drastically.
I mean, there's so much to the story. So before we get to all the tech of this, because there's a lot. What is this book about for anybody who hasn't seen it or heard about it yet?
Okay, so the book is the first in a YA dystopian cyberpunk trilogy. So it is the first in a series. Don't expect everything to be wrapped up neat and tidily in a bow. There's a lot of chaos that hits the book as it
you do.
unravels. As I do. People are used to it by now. But Coldwire is it's my take on the dystopian genre because I was raised by YA and dystopian, of course. Like that, those were my favorite books growing up. I wanted to go in with a kind of like, as mentioned, I was an international relations major, so I wanted to go in with a kind of like bilateral take on it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times you look at dystopian as government versus people. And Coldwire takes place in a world where there's a Cold War happening between 2 major superpower countries, and it's exploring how do the people in the shadow, live, how do they resist, and all of that. Which is a long-winded way of saying there are 2 main characters that we follow, and one of them is in the real world, and the other one is in virtual reality, and they end up meeting a lot of conspiracy and secrets and angst, I guess.
When you're writing a dual POV book, do you have a favorite character, and does that influence how you write them?
I do. I do usually end up with a favorite because I veer toward the ones where I get to put more voice into it. So the two characters, Ireli and Leah, they initially kind of sounded very similar because I was still getting used to writing in first person. All my other books have been in third person. And Coldwire was my re-entry back into first person that I haven't done since like all the books I was writing pre These Violent Delights, my debut. And so my editor looked at this at the first draft and she went, I can't tell what the difference between these two characters are. And I was like, okay, back to the drawing board we go. And so I really had to like look into, well, why do they speak the way they speak? Why do they see the world in the way they do? And at least in Coldwire, Leah ended up being my favorite one to write because she's just a lot more emotional. She will kind of look at the narrative in a way that she's going like, I hate this. I love this. This makes me upset. And that's how she makes statements versus Ireli is very matter of fact. She'll see things as they occur. She doesn't really attach her emotions onto it, which was harder for me to do.
I think I like Leah better too.
Yeah.
The banter with Kieran is...
That was so fun to write.
Oh, it has to be, like, getting to write banter.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves reading it.
Right.
But then to write it, like, you're getting, like...
Yeah.
Is there a favorite banter moment for you?
There's a moment where they're kind of looking out into the sea, and it feels very slow and almost invoking this beautiful moment. And then they kind of just start ribbing each other, and Karen grabs her finger and is like, you're gonna jab your finger at me? Now you don't get your finger back. That was so funny. I think the best banter is when it comes out in a way that to me feels like it's telling us something about their character. You know, it has to be performing double duty, or else I'm just, you know, I do love writing fluff, but at a certain point I'm like, it needs to be relevant fluff. And when the banter feels like it's telling us something about the character, I'm like, okay, I can get away with this.
So on the tech side of things, there is a lot. So you got some help from Owen.
I did.
But what other research and like plotting out world building did you go through to kind of bring this to life? Because building a world that's real is hard enough. And then having a virtual world in there as well, lots of extra effort.
Lots of effort. So there were two pieces of my kind of like tech research, because in Ireli's storyline in the physical world, they are like breaking into facilities and trying to hunt down a program. In Leah's world in virtual, they're hunting down a possible traitor. They're breaking into apartments and safes and all of that. There's a concept called penetration testing that is a real thing tech companies do, where they'll pay someone to essentially figure out how easy it is to hack their systems. Like they're like, you know, test this out and tell us what we have to kind of prevent if in case of a real attack. And so a lot of these stories are fascinating. Like the research that I was kind of doing, I felt like I was just reading for fun at a certain point. Because there are some moments where I would just stumble onto a fun fact and it would be like, oh yeah, there are no cameras in deeply secure facilities because they don't want someone hacking the camera and seeing what their workers are up to. And I would take that fact and be like, oh, that's great, actually. I'm going to mention that because I know someone's going to be reading this and be like, why are there no security cameras? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, but the research...
Yeah. Especially if it's something illegal. Like, exactly. They really don't want you knowing.
Especially if they're like, okay, people can't know about this.
With AI, especially in this world where so many things are being faked, including books, what do you want people to think about most when they are using AI or ChatGPT and like, oh, I wrote a book, but I used ChatGPT?
Well, I don't think people should be writing books on ChatGPT. I'm not even going to skirt around it. Don't write your books on ChatGPT. I think it's so silly. I mean, I think the whole thing about like, you know, there's going to be massive movement in the tech space and in the AI space. It is a tool, and there are many aspects where we still have not fully explored what it's capable of doing or what it will be helpful in doing. But I think one thing that we can basically be sure of right now is that AI and art don't really go in the same sentence together. Like, when it comes to writing a book, the choice of the words that you use is so important. The way that you put together the character dynamics, from the world building into how the prose is structured, all of that is a human decision in order to connect with the reader on the other side. And I think as soon as you have ChatGPT writing a sentence, it's like, okay, well, now that's ChatGPT's thoughts, not your own. And I would just encourage people to put their own thoughts on the page instead, you know? Like, I think we like to jump right into the arena of having something that feels perfect, having something that feels complete. But I would argue the nice thing and the cathartic thing and the human thing about writing is the imperfections. And it's so much more worthwhile to write something that feels kind of shoddy and half done and is wholly yours than to put it into a machine and have it feel like complete.
A freaking men. The number of times people are like, oh, if you don't get on AI, you're just going to get left behind. And it's like, no, you were taking the soul out of art, and books are art.
Yes.
But there's so many big issues that you cover in the book, from AI to government and all of that. What message do you want readers to take away from this book the most?
I think overall, I want readers to feel as though the whole book is a thought experiment of sorts. Like, I would say I don't have one particular message that I want them to take away. I rather want them to start thinking about these themes and use it as a conversational jumping point. Especially with Coldwire being young adult fiction, that was so important to me because I want teenagers to have this, accessible piece of media that they can, revolve their conversations around, and to use it as a discussion point, either with friends, in classrooms, like, I don't know, in college essays. Like, I think having something that feels relatable to their own experiences is a really great way of getting them to critically think about things and not just jump into, ideas about certain technology because, like, big tech said so. And God knows big tech is everywhere right now, right? We cannot get away from it. But so more than ever, I think it's important to have media and have art that discusses it and allows you to feel free to discuss it.
Was Nile Corp inspired by any particular company?
For legal reasons, I cannot say. I will say that, it's not one particular entity that inspired it, but rather, I think, everything that we are currently seeing about where big corporations are moving. That's my legally advised answer.
And talking about moving, you move away from Shakespeare in this one. What was it like for you to not be doing a Shakespeare-based book for once?
So weird. Me and Shakespeare were like this for years.
Besties.
We were, and suddenly I was like, okay, Shakespeare, like, we've had fun, but this is me for now. I got to go my own way. I might, come back to him at a certain point, but...
Is it, maybe I've heard wrong, but Immortal Longings 3?
Yes. Immortal Longings, the series is still an Antony and Cleopatra retelling.
So still somewhat Shakespeare.
I'm still with him, He's
in your heart.
Yeah, he's my friend that I locked away in the basement for now. It was strange. I think for a very long time, everything that I published, I had been working up the Shakespearean framework, and all of my storytelling stemmed back to something that I felt he had already said best and I was in conversation with. But Coldwire is the first time that I'm truly playing in my own sandbox. I'm not, speaking back to a theme that I felt was super intriguing and I want to add to. I'm just here and constructing a world out of what I would find most interesting. So it's been exciting because by Shakespeare, I don't need you, but it's been very scary because Shakespeare was holding my hand before.
Was Shakespeare your personal training wheels?
Yeah, he was.
It's like, you can go.
Yeah.
Do you feel him pushing you off the bike now?
I do. I feel his presence. He's like sitting in the bike basket. I'm carting him around now.
That's amazing.
Yeah. A great visual, I know.
Oh, my other weird question. I almost forgot. This is bizarre, and I mentioned it in line to somebody, and I was like, I've got a weird question I'm going to ask her, and they were like, now I need the answer. So you mentioned, I forget which character it was, but she's like, I don't have enough hair to put it up into a bundle, and I was like, who says put it up into a bundle? It's a bun. Wait, is bun short for bundle? Do you know something I don't know?
I just call it a bundle.
I've never heard anybody call it a bundle before.
But now that I think about it, bun might be short for bundle. I don't have any more information than you do.
Okay.
I will say there are some. See, now that you bring this up, this is actually a really fun fact about some of my writing. I will notice sometimes that little weird words will slip into my writing. And I'm not quite sure where they come from until I go home to New Zealand. And I'm like, oh, this is just a weird thing that we say. And then my copy editors don't catch it because I think they're getting to a point where they almost feel like they can't be like, not US English, is that okay? Because it happens a lot. It happens where I use the UK English version instead, and they have to keep pinging me for it. And I think they're like, I'll let you have this one. So maybe bundle is just one that slipped in.
Maybe that's New Zealand.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
And it's bundled. I think that makes sense, right? It's, bundled back there.
It does, but then I had this moment, like, reading it, I'm like, that's weird. No, what?
I almost feel like that makes more sense for where it came from than, like, an eating bun, right?
It's true.
Yeah, it looks more like...
It changed my whole perspective, and other people in line were like, I need answers, so please ask. This has been an absolute delight. We could talk forever, but we both have panels.
Yeah. Important panels.
Yes, we're panelists. We're fancy. So the last question we always ask is, because this is literary hype, what books are you hyped about?
Oh my god, okay. So a book that I'm so hyped about, it's coming out November 4th, so same day as Coldwire. When Coldwire is out, you can get this book as well. It's called Reasons We Break by Jasmine Cordio. I heard it pitched as Romeo and Juliet meets Breaking Bad.
Ooh.
I feel like that comp alone will tell you everything you need to know about it, but it is just, I think it's one of the best YA contemporary and also boundary genre breaking books I've read in a long time.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking time to talk to Literary Hype from New York Comic Con.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to Chloe for hanging out with me at New York Comic Con to talk all about her brand new book, Coldwire. If you want to check this out, which you should, it's super fun, the links to do so are down in the description for you, as well as where to find Chloe on social media. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the Literary Hype YouTube channel, and click that little bell so you get notifications every time I post new content. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.